everybody, welcome back. So I thought it would be fun this week, and we made a tutorial on making a love monkey for Valentine's Day, which is coming up in February in just a few short weeks. So I thought it would be fun to kind of get a jump on Valentine's Day things for your loved ones, family, friends, kids, teachers, classmates, you name it. So grab your Red Heart Super Saver yarn and your pattern off of yarnspirations.com, and we will make a little love monkey together. Ready? So let's jump in and start making our first tutorial of 2024. So I thought it would be fun to make something Valentine's Day related. So I thought I'd pick a little monkey with a heart on his tummy. I thought that would be cute. So if you want to make some for your kids or whatever, but what you're going to need is you're going to need a 5mm hook, a yarn needle, maybe a safety, like a stitch marker, and you can use safety pins, paper clips, bobby pins, whatever you have around your house, some scissors. You're also going to need stuffing and some safety eyes. Now the safety eyes it says to use in the pattern is anywhere from 9 to 12 millimeters, and you can use colored ones, you can use like brown ones like they have in the picture. It's totally up to you. And then you'll need, like I said, some stuffing. You can use scrap yarn, you can use scrap material cut up into little pieces, totally up to you. The last thing you're going to need is the pattern, and you can find it on yarnspirations.com. I'll put the link down below in case you want to go grab it and follow along with me. But other than that, grab your pattern, grab your yarn, which is going to be the Red Heart Super Saver, and you're going to need it in 2 different shades of brown. So like a darker brown for your monkey body, and then a lighter brown for his face, ears, and then a red for the heart on his tummy. And if you want to use pink or purple, that's fine as well. And then maybe just a little bit of black for his facial features, like his mouth and his nose. But other than that, let's get started. All right, so I've got my 5mm hook and my yarn ready to go. We're going to start with the monkey's head. That's the first piece of the puzzle. So, and we're also going to do a special stitch in this pattern. It's called a reverse single crochet. So I'll show you how to do that when we get to that point. But let's start with the monkey's head. So you're going to grab your yarn and you're going to make a slip knot to get started. Okay. And if you need to review how to do a slip knot or even the basic stitches, I'll put a link to all those videos down below so you can go back and refresh your memory. But we're going to chain 2 to begin. So 1 and 2. And then in the second chain from your hook, so the one on your hook doesn't count, it's the one directly after that, you're going to put 6 single crochets in that second chain. And that's going to be the first part of getting started with our monkey. 2, 3, that's 4, 5, and one more makes 6. There we go. Now for round 2. Now if you want to, this is where your stitch marker is going to come in handy. So what I like to do is I put my first stitch of the second round in, which is going to be a single crochet in that first stitch. And before I move on, I always place my stitch marker in that first stitch so I know where I've started and where I need to stop. So in round 2, you're going to put 2 single crochets in each stitch around, going from 6 stitches to 12. So you're basically doubling your stitch count. So just don't forget 1 stitch. If you have to count even with a stitch marker, that's okay. You don't want to lose your spot and then have to go back and go, okay, where did I put 1 stitch? But just put 2 single crochets in each stitch all the way around. You're going to go from 6 to 12. And when you're done, round 2, if you want, just to make sure you have 12, you can always count backward from your hook to see if you end up with 12. And if you did, great. If not, figure out what happened and no big deal. You can pause the video and catch up. But round 3, and I took my stitch marker out because I'm going to do start the next round. So in round 3, you're going to put 1 single crochet in that first stitch, and I'm going to put my stitch marker back in that stitch so I know where I've started. And then you're going to put 2 single crochets in the next stitch after that. So you're going to go from 12 stitches to 18 after this. And putting 2 single crochets in one stitch is an increase. So we're going to be increasing for a few rounds. So then in the next stitch, it's 1 single crochet. And then the one after that, you put an increase. So it's 2 single crochets in one stitch. Now do that all the way around, and when you get back to the beginning, we will move on to round 4 together. All right, has everybody reached 18 single crochets? If not, take a minute, pause the video, and catch up. So for round 4, as you see, I've taken out my stitch marker, getting ready for round 4. So in the first 2 stitches, you're going to put 1 single crochet in the first. And before moving on, make sure you put your stitch marker back. Then in the second stitch, again, just 1 single crochet. And then in the third stitch, you're going to put, that's right, an increase. So it's 1, 2, increase. Okay? So 1, 2, and then an increase. 1 and 2. So that's going to be the pattern for this round, which is round 4. You're going to go from 18 stitches to 24. Once you've gone all the way around, I'll meet you back at the beginning for round 5. All right, so that's it for round 4. So for round 5, you're going to put 1 single crochet in the first 3 stitches this time. So 1 in the first, 1 in the second, and 1 in the third, and then increase in the fourth. Okay, so let me pull a little bit more yarn here. Sorry if I'm wiggling the tripod on you. There we go. Okay, so that's the pattern for this row is 1, 2, 3, and then increase in the fourth. Okay, so again, complete that all the way around and I'll catch up with you at round 6. Okay. So I just finished round 5, and you should have 30 stitches by the end of round 5. So for round 6, you're going to put 1 single crochet in the first stitch. And again, place your stitch marker, bobby pin, safety pin, take your pick. And then that's 2 in the next. So it's 1, 2, and then, so there should be 1 single crochet in the first 4 stitches. And then in the 5th, you increase. Okay, so then it's again 1, 2, 3, 4, and then increase in the 5th. Okay, there we go. And that's your pattern all the way around. I'll meet back with you when you ready to start round 7. So at the end of round 6, you should have 36 stitches. If you don't, just take a minute, pause the video, and double check to make sure you have the right amount of stitches. But for round 5, we're going to keep increasing. Or sorry, for round 7, I repeat, round 7, we're going to keep increasing. So it's going to be 1 single crochet in the first, and then 1 in the second, 1 in the third, 1 in the fourth, and 1 in the 5th. So 1 in each of the first 5 stitches, and then increase in the 6th. Okay, so that's it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, and then increase in the 6th. 1, whoops, and 2. So complete that all the way around, and I'll meet up with you on our last increase row. All right, so for round 8, you should have 42 stitches by the end of this round. So for round 8, it's our last time increasing for the head. So we're going to put 1 single crochet in the first 6 stitches this time, because it is our last increase round. So it's going to be 1 in each of the next 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then increase in the 7th. 1, 2. Okay, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then in the 7th you add 2. Okay, so complete that all the way around, and I will meet up with you for the next round. That is the end of round 8, and the last time will be increasing until we do the other pieces of the monkey. So for rounds 9 through 16, you're just going to do 1 stitch around. So like I said, just from rounds 9 to 16, you're just going to place 1 single crochet in each stitch. Now you can move your stitch marker every time you finish a row, or you can just leave it there and just make sure you count properly the amount of rows to get from 9 to 16. However you like to do it is up to you. I like to move the stitch marker with the row so I know what row I'm on and how many I've done. I also like to make sure I'm adding maybe on a piece of paper, or if I've got the written pattern beside me, and beside the row that I'm on, I put a little tick next to it so I know how many times I've gone around. That way I got a good way of keeping track of how many rows I've done, so I don't do too many or not enough. So, but for rounds 9 through 16, just do 1 stitch in each all the way around, and I'll meet up with you and we will start round 17 together. All right, so once you've finished your rounds 9 through 16, your project should start looking kind of like a bowl almost. And I'm going to take my stitch marker out, and I'm just going to put it off to the side. So now we're going to start decreasing, and which means making it smaller so it looks more rounder, more like the monkey's head. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put 1 single crochet in the first stitch, and then 1 in the next, each of the next 5, so a total of 6. 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we're going to decrease. And now we're going to do that by doing a single crochet 2 together stitch. So we're going to put our hook in the next stitch and pull up a loop, put our hook in the next stitch over, pull up another loop. So you've got 3 on your hook. Then you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 of those loops. And you basically turned 2 stitches to 1. And we're going to do that all the way around. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then decrease, single crochet 2 together. So keep going with that around, and I'll meet back with you at the beginning. Okay, so for round 18, we're going to do 1 in each of the next 5 stitches. Don't forget to put your stitch marker back where you begin. So 1 in the first 5. 3, 4, and 5, and then a single crochet 2 together. Okay, so we're going to keep doing this all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a decrease. Okay, so keep doing all that all the way around, and I'll meet up with you for round 19. So for round 19, we're going to keep decreasing. We're going to do 1 single crochet in the next 4 stitches. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a decrease. And that's what we're going to do all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then a decrease. Okay, so repeat that all the way around and I'll meet up for you with round 20. Okay, so for round 20, you're going to do 3, so 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and then decrease. 1. There we go. So 1, 2, 3, and then decrease. Okay, so just repeat that all the way around and I'll meet up with you for the next round. Okay, so before I start round 21 and keep decreasing, I thought it would be good time to add some stuffing to our head, just so we can start kind of putting some in. I'm just going to use polyester fiber fill because that's what I have right here beside me, and I'm just going to kind of start sticking it in, and I'm just going to make sure I move it around and get the shape for the head that I want. And don't forget, you can always just add a little bit just to get started, and then you can add more as you go before your hole gets too small and it gets too small to add stuffing. But for round 21, we're going to put 1 in each of the next 2 stitches. Okay. So 1 and 2, and then a decrease. So 1 and 2, and then a decrease. Okay, so then just repeat that all the way around and I'll meet up with you at the beginning. Okay, so for the last and final round, it's going to be 1 single crochet in the first stitch. Okay. Okay, so that's 1, and then decrease in the next 2. So then that's the whole, so 1, and then a decrease. Okay, and then 1, and then a decrease. Okay, and you just keep going all the way around. I will keep up with you. For this, I'm almost there. Okay, and then you should finish with a slip stitch, or you should finish your round with a decrease. So now what we're going to do is we're going to fasten off, and I'm just going to slip stitch in that first stitch. Okay, and then what we're going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit more stuffing just to some of the spots that look a little not stuffed properly. But you also want to leave a tail long enough to sew your head to your body. Okay, so take a guess on how much you think you're going to need. I think that'll be okay. Worst case is you can always add an extra tail if you need one. I'm going to put the head aside for now because we're going to work on the face portion of the monkey next. Okay, so now we're going to work on the face portion of our monkey. And to do that, now we're going to go, if you have the pattern, you're going to start with the first 4 rounds that you did of the head. So we're going to start with a chain 2, 1 and 2, and then you're going to do, so round 1 would be putting 6 single crochets in that second chain from your hook, just like we did with the head part of our monkey. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, and then we're going to put 2 single crochets in each stitch around, just like we did with the head. We're just doing the first 4 rounds. So you should go from 6 stitches to 12. Okay. Just remember, if you're counting, make sure you end up with 12. Because if you miss a stitch, it may not look the way you want it to. Okay. Round 3 is going to be 1 single crochet in the first. Okay. And then 2 in the next. Okay. Then 1 in the next, and then 2 in the stitch after that. Okay, I'm just going to repeat that all the way around, and I'll meet up with you for round 4. Okay, so for round 4, you're going to do 1 single crochet in the first stitch. Don't forget to be using your stitch marker. 1 single crochet in the second, and then 2 in the third. Okay, so the pattern is 1, 2, and then 3 and 4. Okay, so just do that all the way around, and I will meet up with you and we'll move on to round 5 together. All right, so now we're going to keep going with round 5. So for the pattern, it says to skip the next 2 single crochets. So that's the next 2 that you would be using. So 1, 2, and then in the third one, you're going to be putting 9 double crochets. So double crochets, yarn over, insert your hook in the third stitch, pull up a loop so you have 3 on your hook, then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. I'm going to mark that as my first stitch just so I don't get lost, but we're going to do 9 of those in total. So let's do 8 more. So this is 2, that's 3, that's 4, that's 5, 6, that's 7, 8, and 1 more makes 9. Okay, so then after that, we're going to skip 2 more single crochets. Now, be careful that you have a stitch hiding behind some of the double crochets you did. So that will count as skipping a stitch. So 1, 2, and then single crochet in the next 3 single crochets. So skip 2, 1, 2, and then put 3 single crochets in the next. So that's 1, 2, and then 3. So single crochet 1 in each of the next 3 stitches. Then you're going to skip 2 more again. So 1, 2, and then in that third one you're going to put 9 double crochets again. So that's 1, 2, that's 3, 4, that's 5, okay, and then 6, that's 7, 8, 1 more makes 9. There we go. Okay, and then you're going to skip 2 single crochets, so 1, 2, and then in the next 3 stitches you're going to put 3 single crochets in the next, or so, sorry, 1 crochet in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3, and then 2 single crochets in the next single crochet. So do an increase. 1, 2, okay, And you're going to do that twice. So one single crochet in the next 3. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3. And then you're going to put 2 single crochets in the next for an increase. And then you're going to put in the last 3 stitches just 1 single crochet in each. 2 and 3. Okay, there we go. That was round 5. So you should have a total of 34 stitches for that round. So we're going into round 6 now. So what we're going to do is we're going to put 2 single crochets in the next stitch, which is our double crochet that we did. And don't forget to put your stitch marker in. So that's 1, oops, and 2. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to do 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and then an increase in the next. Okay, and then you're going to do that 8 times, and it's going to take you to almost the end. You're going to have 1 stitch left. I'll meet you when you get there. All right, so I'm almost done round 6. So in that last stitch, you're just going to put 1 single crochet in that very last stitch. Okay, and that is the face portion. So what you're going to do is fasten off, and I'm going to do the same thing. So slip stitch in the next stitch. And I'm just going to leave a little bit of a tail. Sometimes too long is always a good thing for sewing. Oops. Okay. Pull the tail all the way through. There we go. If you want to weave the tail that you have in the back, weave it in so it's not in your way, that's fine. I'm just gonna leave mine out. I'll just tuck it in behind when I'm finished. But that is the face portion of our monkey. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna leave a long tail for sewing, and we're gonna attach the eyes on next. So now we're going to attach the eyes and make the nose and mouth as well before we sew this onto our monkey. So I've already kind of got one eye in place. So what you want to do is you want to get your eyes. I'm using 12mm, just some black and white eyes I have lying around. And then what you want to do is you want to put your eye at the base of those 9 double crochets that we did. Just like that. Okay. And they're going to poke through the other side. So play around with the placement, make sure they're in the right spot for you. And then once they're in the right spot, just attach your backings. If you wanted to embroider some eyes on instead of using safety eyes, that works too. Just make sure they're in those same spots that the safety eyes are. Now, to stitch on a mouth and a nose, I'm going to do the nose first. So the nose is going to be somewhere almost directly between the 2 eyes. It's going to be probably about right here, but I'm going to go through the back side of it, of our project, and I'm going to have my needle come out probably right about there, I would suggest. I'm just going to pull it through until there's a little bit of a tail in the back. Okay, there we go. And then I'm just going to go back in. I'm going to go across maybe 1 to 2 stitches over, and go put it in through the front to back. Then I'm going to go back in through the first stitch I started in. Okay, I'm going to go back and forth a couple of times. That's 2. I might do 1 more. Okay. There we go. So there's the nose. So what you want to do after that is, if you want, you can snip your yarn, tie your ends together, but I'm going to keep it attached because I'm going to add the mouth while I'm still connected here. So what you want to do is just below the nose, you want to put your yarn needle in through the back, probably about level with the eye, I would suggest. And you're going to pull your needle all the way through with your yarn attached, trying to avoid your tail that you've already got back there. And if you wanted to, you could do a mouth. So you can go across and go across and then go out through the back, just like this. So I'm going to try and copy the picture they have in the on the pattern. And I'm going to go kind of just diagonal of where I went of this spot right here. I'm going to go up, but I'm also going to try and catch my black yarn that I have here to bring it down. Okay. And I'm going to go back in through that same space that I came out of to anchor this black yarn in place. Okay. I'm not going to pull it too tight just yet, because then I'm going to go across in one spot, and I'm going to do the exact same thing so I can get it to do like he's smiling. There we go. Oops. Try not to pull your tail in the back there. There we go. And if you wanted to do the little lines at the top, that's about the same thing. You go in through the back, come out through the front, and then you just go across over just a little bit, and then you go back in through the project. Okay. And then you can go on the other side, do the same thing. Trying to do this with my right hand's not the best idea. Okay. And there's our monkey smile and his eyes. Now what you want to do is you want to take that yarn tail you started with, snip your yarn in the back. And what I like to do is just tie it in a double knot so it doesn't come undone, doesn't come loose on you. The yarn on the front side doesn't start to get all wonky and misshapen and out of place. Then you can just take your black yarn off of your needle, throw that to the side, and there's the face of our monkey. So let's get started on the ears. Okay, so we're going to start working on the ears of our monkey, and we're going to start with the inner ear. So we're going to take our lighter color yarn, the same color you used for the monkey's face, and you're going to make 2 of these. So we'll make one, and then I'll make one with you, and then you can make the other one on your own. So to do that, you're going to chain 2, 1, 2. Then you're going to work 5 single crochets in that second chain from your hook. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 5. And then what you're going to do is you're going to chain 1, turn your work, so you're going to go back and forth, not around in circles. So then in the second row, you're going to, in this round 2, you're going to put 2 single crochets in each stitch across. So you're going to go from 5 to 10. So that's 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, and then 9 and 10, and then again chain 1, turn your work around, and then you're going to go for row 3, 1 single crochet in the first, and then 2 in the next. So you're going to go from 10 to 15. So 1 in the next, increase in the stitch after that. And that's 1, and then increase. And then it's 1, then it's increase. It's 1, and then increase. Okay. And then what you're going to do is you're going to fasten off, cut your tail. Don't have to worry about it being too long. If you want, you can always take a second and weave these ends in so they're not in your way when you go to do the outer part of your monkey's ear. Just weave them in through the back side. Just trim your tails so they're not in the way. Plus it's less to sew in later. Okay, I'm just going to stitch this one in. There we go. Turn that one. Okay, we can put this color aside for now. There we go. Then we're going to take our body color. And what we're going to do is we're going to do the inner part of the ear again, but we're going to do it in the darker color. So you're going to do what you just did, and you're going to do it in the darker color. So chain 2. Okay. And then 5 single crochets in the second chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then chain 1, turn my work, and then 2 stitches, 2 single crochets in each stitch, going from 5 to 10. Okay. Okay, and then you're going to chain 1, turn again, and then you're going to do that increase row we just did. So 1 in the first, increase in the second. You're going to do that all the way across. And you notice how I'm not going around in circles, I'm just going back and forth like I'm doing just regular rows. Okay, and then you should be at 15 stitches by the end of round 3. There we go. Now for this one, do not fasten off with the darker brown, because what we're gonna be doing is we're going to be attaching the 2 pieces together. So what we're gonna do now is you're gonna chain 1, turn your work, take the lighter brown, put it on top of the darker brown so the stitches kind of align. And what you're gonna do is you are just going to single crochet through both pieces. So you're gonna grab the first stitch of the lighter color and then stick it through the first stitch of the darker color and then do a single crochet. And if you want, you can put one of your fingers in between your pieces to make it easier to find the stitches, but you're just making sure you're going through both pieces all the way across. You should be left with 15 stitches by the end of this row. There's no more increasing for the ears. Okay. Oopsie. Okay. Okay, and then should be one more at the very end. There, that is our ear. Okay. So what we're gonna do now is the last thing we're gonna do is that reverse single crochet I talked about at the beginning of the pattern. So you're gonna wanna chain 1. We don't need to turn our work this time, because what you're gonna be doing is you're gonna be doing a single crochet backwards. So instead of doing a regular single crochet like we just did, we're just going to be going in reverse. So you're going to chain 1. You're going to put your hook in that first stitch right there. Pull up a loop, because you have 2 like a single crochet, and then just finish. Okay? And then you're going to go into the next stitch and do the same thing. Pull up a loop and single crochet. And you're just going to keep going in reverse in each stitch. What it's going to do is it's going to create a nice little border on our ear, just to make it look that much cuter. And like I said, it doesn't look like much when you start, but this is kind of what it looks like once you get going. So just take your time. You're just going to go in each stitch and do a single crochet, but you're doing it in reverse. Okay. There we go. And then the last one, done. Once you're done the last one, you can chain one to fasten off. Again, leave a bit of a tail for sewing. Pull your tail. This end, you can just stuff it inside your ear if you wish. We have 2 ears now. Let's put those aside. And now we're going to grab our darker yarn and work on the body of our monkey. So here's the color for the body. And what you're going to do is you're going to chain 2 again to get started. Okay, so chain 2, 1, 2, and then again 6 single crochets in the first or second stitch of the hook, and you're going to be working rounds 1 through 6 of the head. So you can go back to the head part of the pattern, and we're going to be doing rounds 1 through 6 of the pattern for the head to get started on the body. So you want to back up the video and start with the first 6 rounds, and I will meet up with you for the remaining rounds of the body. All right, so once you've done rounds 1 through 6 of the head to begin your body piece, we're going to do rounds 7 through 14 now. So rounds 7 through 14 is just 1 single crochet each in each stitch around. And you're just going to do it between rounds 7 and 14. So just 1 stitch in each all the way around from round 7 to round 14. And once you get to the end of round 14, I will meet up with you and we will finish off our monkey body together. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you've done your rounds that you needed to do from 7 to 14. So for rounds 15 to 18, you're going to go back in the pattern, back to the head portion, and you're going to do rounds from 19 to 22. So that's going to be the decreasing rounds that we did. So what you're going to do is round 19 is going to be 1 single crochet in the first, and don't forget to put your stitch marker back. 1 single crochet in the second, 1 in the third, 1 in the fourth, and then you're going to go and do a single crochet 2 together. Okay, and then you're going to do it again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then single crochet 2 together. And you're just going to do this all the way around. 2 and 3 and 4, and then single crochet 2 together. And you're going to finish that all the way around, and once you get back to the beginning, I'll meet up with you for round 20. Okay, for the next round, we're going to decrease again. So 1 single crochet in the first stitch, place your stitch marker. Okay, and then it's 1 in the second, 1 in the third, and then decrease in the fourth and fifth. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, and then decrease. Okay, so then it's 1, 2, 3, then decrease. Okay, complete that all the way around, and I'll meet up with you for the next one. All right, so for the next round, you're going to do 1 single crochet in the first stitch, 1 in the second stitch, and then a single crochet two together. So it's going to be 1, 2, and then decrease. And again, do that all the way around, and I'll meet up with you for the final round. Okay, we've got one round left, but I thought we'd take a break and take a second and add some stuffing to our body. And again, I'm just using the polyester fiber fill. And you just want to start stuffing it as best you can before your hole gets too small. Okay, here we go. And don't forget, you can always add more stuffing as you go when you start to stitch the body closed or stitch it to the head. You can always try to slip a little bit more in there just to make sure you've got enough. But for the final round, it's going to be 1 single crochet in the first, and add your stitch marker, and then decrease in the next 2. Okay, and then you're going to just do that all the way around. Then you'll be left with 12 stitches, just like the head. So just take your time, complete it all the way around. And just be careful that you're pushing the stuffing out of the way if you've added stuffing already. Suppose you could always wait to the end to add stuffing because the hole is still relatively big, so you can, but it's up to you. I added some stuffing. I'll try to shove a bit more in there before we stitch the head and the body together. But that is the last round of the body. Okay, and then what you have to do next is fasten off. And I like to fasten off by slip stitching into the next stitch. And then cut a bit of a tail. Oh, no, we're going to weave in the end on this one because we left a tail on the head. So and you know what you can always do is actually just take this tail and stick it along the inside of the body. I'm gonna add a little bit more stuffing in there. Try to make him a little rounder as best I can. And that is the body portion of our monkey. And we're gonna take a minute and grab our red yarn, and we're gonna work on the heart of our monkey. All right, so we're gonna start working on the heart that goes onto his tummy. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab your heart color. I'm gonna be using red. And what you're gonna do is start with a slip knot and chain 2 to get started. So just chain 2 to begin. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna, in the second chain from the hook, you're just going to put 1 single crochet. Now we're going to be working back and forth in rows. We're not going to be working in the round like we have been doing. So then what you're going to do is chain 1, turn your work, because we only have done 1 single crochet so far. And what you're going to do is you're going to put 3 single crochets in that stitch you just made. Okay, so put 3 stitches in that 1 stitch. So that was 1, 2, and 3. Okay. And then chain 1, turn your work. Okay, and then you're going to put 2 single crochets in the first stitch. So 1 and 2. 1 in the center stitch. 1 in the middle, and then 2 in the end on the last stitch. So we're going from 3 stitches to 5. Okay, and then you're going to chain 1, turn your work. Okay, and now what you're going to do is you're going to basically do the same thing. So you're going to put 2 single crochets in that first stitch, and then 1 in the next 3 stitches. Okay, and then 2 in the last. And now we are at 7. Then you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and then you're going to just single crochet one in each across. Okay, one in each across, staying at 7 stitches. Oops. There we go. Now it's going to chain one again, turn your work. Okay, and now what you're going to do is you're going to do 2 single crochets in the first, and then 1 single crochet in the next 5, leaving that last stitch open. Okay, and then it's 2 single crochets in the last stitch. And then it's chain 1, turn your work, and then it's 1 single crochet in each stitch across. You should be at 9 stitches. Okay, there we go. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to start working on the bumps of the heart. So you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and what you're going to do is you're going to skip the first 2 stitches. So 1, 2, and then in the next stitch after that, which is the 3rd one in, what you're going to do is you're going to do 6 double crochets. So kind of like what we did for his face, except you're doing it for a heart instead. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 more, and 6. So it should look something like this. And then what you're going to do is you're going to skip the next single crochet and then slip stitch into the single crochet after that. Okay. And then you're going to skip the next one after that and put 6 single crochets in the stitch after that. So 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, oops, and 6. There we go. Okay, and then you're going to skip the last 2 single crochets, and then you're going to slip stitch in the beginning chain. So that is this chain kind of like right here. So you're just going to kind of slip stitch in there just to kind of anchor your bump down. Just like that. Whoops. Sticking your hook anywhere that it'll fit. Okay. And there we go. And we can fasten off. Now leave a little bit of a tail for sewing it on, because we will be putting all the pieces together once we've made the arms, legs, and the tail. But this is what your heart should look like. You probably make one of those and just stitch it onto anything, really. But grab your dark brown yarn and we're gonna make the arms and legs. Now the arms and legs are going to be all the same size, so you need to make 4 in total, 2 for the arms, 2 for the legs. So what you're going to do is you're going to do rounds 1 and 2 of the head part. So you're going to make a slip knot, chain 2 to begin, 1, 2, and then you're going to do 6 single crochets in the second chain from your hook, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 more, that's 6. Okay, And now what you're going to do is you're going to put 2 single crochets in each stitch around, going from 6 to 12. I'm going to grab my stitch marker here. Okay. So going from 6 to 12, you're going to put 2 single crochets in each stitch around. Okay. And like I said, you're going to make 4 of these, because you need 2 for the arms and 2 for the legs. Okay, and now for rounds 3 to 10, you are just going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch around. So from rounds 3 to 10, you're just going to do 1 stitch in each all the way around, and I will meet you back for round 11. All right, once you're done rounds 3 and 10, what you're going to do is we're going to start decreasing now. So we're going to do 1 in the first stitch, place our stitch marker, and then we're going to do 1 in the next 3, so that's a total of 4. And then you're going to do a single crochet 2 together. Then you're going to do that one more time. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then single crochet 2 together. Oops. Okay. And then what you're going to do next for the next round is just do 1 stitch in each all the way around. So for the next round, all you're going to do is just put 1 stitch in each all the way around. No decreasing for this round. So just 1 stitch in each all the way around. Okay, just like this. And then for the final round, it's 1 more round of decreasing. Just going to put 1 single crochet in the first one, and then 1 in the next 2 after that for a total of 3. And then you're going to put, and then do a single crochet 2 together. And then you're going to do it one more time. So 1, 2, 3, and then 1, and then decrease. Okay, and that's it for that hand or leg. And like I said, you're going to do 4 of these in total. So for 2 for 1 for each of the arms and 1 for each of the legs. And then I'm just going to slip stitch at the beginning. I'm going to cut my yarn, pull my tail through, and I'm going to grab a little bit of stuffing here. And I'm just going to stuff the leg or the arm. Just do my best to stuff as good as I can. And then I've already got the other 3 legs and arm, all the other pieces for that done. So I did 2 for the arms, 2 for the legs. And now let's work on the tail. Okay, so let's start making the tail for our monkey friend. So you're gonna need your brown yarn that you've been using for the body. And you're gonna start with a slip knot and chain 2 to begin. So 1, 2, and then what you're going to do is you're going to put 6 single crochets in that second chain from your hook. Okay. That's 2, 3, that's 4, 5, and 6. That's the first round for our monkey friend. And then in the second round, you're just going to keep it at 6 single crochets. You're just going to put 1 stitch in each. So just count to 6. So that's 1, oops, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and your tail should start looking something like this. If it's turned inside out, just turn it the right way around, just like that. And what you're going to do is you're just going to keep going with round 2 until your tail reaches about 15 inches. Once it's about 15 inches, we'll come back and we'll put all our pieces of our monkey together. All right, so I did my tail a little shorter than 15 inches, and you can do it as a desired length. So however long you want it, if you want it really long, you want it really short, it's totally up to you. I stuffed as I went, but if you want it to be like posable, you could stuff like a pipe cleaner around the stuffing. Put your pipe cleaner in and then stuff around it if you want. So that way your tail could be posable. But I just put some stuffing in the tail, nothing special. But now we're gonna get to putting the pieces together. So I've already started. I put one arm and one leg on. So I'm gonna attach the other two pieces. So the other arm and the other leg. And I'm just gonna attach them to the side of the body. And I'm gonna try and put them as even as I can in line with the other ones. So I'm just gonna try and line it up as best I can. And all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna stitch across the top half of the arm. So I'm just gonna go in through the body and come out through the arm. In through the body and come out through the arm. Now you can stitch these on any way you want, whichever works for you is fine. And then I'm just gonna stick my needle back in through the body and come out anywhere on the body and pull the tail all the way through. This will kind of help anchor it in place. And I'm gonna do the same thing with the leg. So I'm just gonna stitch the hole closed really quick here as best I can. Okay, and then I'm gonna line it up kind of underneath the arm and try to make sure that it's even with the leg on the other side so we don't have a lopsided friend here. Okay, and then I'm just gonna do the same thing I did with the arm. So in through the body and out through the leg or the arm. Just like this. I mean, you can stitch it on as well as you want. If you want to anchor it somehow, you can. It's totally up to you. This is how I like to sew them on, just so they don't really go anywhere. And then I'm just going to put the tail out where the other tail, okay, where I put the other tail, so they're out in the same place. I'm just going to grab my scissors, trim the tails a little bit, and I'm just going to throw the extra off to the side. I'm going to double knot these so they don't come apart. And then I'm just going to take the back end of a pencil or any end of a pencil, and I'm just going to kind of tuck them in as best I can. But I'm going to try and use my yarn needle here because it'll be a little easier. Actually, there we go. So there's the arms and legs of our monkey friend. Now let's sew his heart onto his tummy, because that way it's not in the way when we go to add his head and his ears. So you're going to sew it basically on the front of your monkey's tummy like this, and you're just going to stitch all the way around. So you're just going to grab a piece of the body and then come up through the heart, and you're just going to do this all the way around as best as you can, trying to be as close to the heart edges of the heart as you can. That way it doesn't really show as well, and all that stuff. So I'm just going to go all the way around the heart, stitching it on the front. And like I said, you can do your heart colors in any color you want: pink, purple, red, or you can do a combination, a bunch of different colors. If you're making Valentines for friends or loved ones. So, and once you get back to the beginning, you can try and just weave your end in if you wish, and then cut off the tail, the extra at the end. So I'm just going to finish up sewing on the heart here. I'm almost done. Okay, here we go. Reaching the end. Hopefully we had a long enough tail. That's another thing, is making sure you have a long enough tail. So sometimes too long of a tail is better than not having a long enough tail. So you want to make sure that you have enough yarn to go all the way around. So I'm just going to weave it in, and then I'm going to trim the tail so you can't see it after. Okay, so let's grab his head and his face and his ears and sew all that on his head, and then we can attach the head to the body. Okay, so let's sew his ears onto his head. I've already got the first one sewn on, so you want to make sure that the monkey's ears are on the side of his head, and you want to try and get them as even as possible. Try to get them as equal as you can. Sometimes I know it's hard, but you do your best. And then I'm just going to start from the back, and I'm just going to work my way through the head and up into a piece of the ear, just to get started. And then I'm just going to try and make it look like the ear is sticking out, because if he's got flat ears, then it's not a monkey. So you want to make sure you're just picking up pieces in the front and in the back, so that way the ear will remain outward. Okay. And then we're going to anchor them the same way we did with the arms and the legs. That way nothing moves and everything stays in position. So I'm just going to keep going on the ear, and then we can anchor it. So it's just almost finished here. Okay, now it looks pretty good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick the yarn needle through, and I'm going to come out where this tail is as best and as close as I can. There we go. And I'm going to do what I did with the arms. So I'm just going to trim the tail a little shorter, and then I'm going to tie it in a double knot. That way it anchors it, it stays still, and there's no concern that it's going to come out. Oops. Trim the tails. Let's throw the excess off to the side. And I'm going to just use the back of my scissors here just to tuck it in, but I think I can pull it in with my finger. There we go. There's his ears. So let's grab his face and sew his cute little face onto his head, so he can start smiling at us. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the face in the center as close as we can in between his ears. So kind of something like that. And what you're going to do is you're going to do the same thing you did with the heart. You're going to stitch in through the body and out through the head, and you're just going to go all the way around his face. And the last piece we're going to sew on to this monkey is his tail. So the next part we're going to do is we're going to take a minute, we're going to sew his head to his body, add a little bit of extra stuffing, and then I'll meet back once we've keep going on your face, and I'll meet back when you're finished, and we can finish off our monkey friend together. Okay, so now we're going to put the head and the body together and then add the tail at the end. So if you want, you can put your head on first and then sew everything else on. Doesn't really matter what order you do this in, but I'm going to do this now. I'm going to put the head on the body, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to go in through one of the stitches on the body just to kind of get this anchored in position. And then I'm just going to go in through the head and then try to come out through the body as best out through where the neck is, or where the neck is supposed to be. And I'm just going to go all the way around. And once you've gone all the way around, maybe use your tail like we've been anchoring before, out through the body somewhere, and then you can do the same thing with the tail. You're going to want to sew the tail onto the back of your monkey somewhere, and then use the extra, once you've done stitching on your tail, you're going to put it out in the same place that you've done before, anchor it, tie it off, and stick it inside the monkey. And then once you've done that, I will meet up with you, and we will see what our monkey friends look like when they're all finished. And there we have it, everybody. We made a little love monkey for anyone that we know that may need a little bit of extra joy at Valentine's Day. So don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next week for more crochet fun. And if you want to keep doing tutorials, let me know. But other than that, I'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.